Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. I am your host, Javon Harrington, back to hit you with another video. And today, we are now at the conclusion of Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm based on the Heroes of the Morphin Grid series, Part 7. But as always, before we get into today's video, if you're a fan of the channel and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcasting that has to come out now and in the future. As we get into the final part of this series, we're now reaching to the point where the great joining of other Ranger series are now going to commence going into the near future. We have two big multiverse stories taking place simultaneously, that being the anime Power Ranger multiverse story and the anime Marvel multiverse story. And as we wrap up a lot of the smaller series now, as we join for the main big story that's going to be coming out soon enough, it's been an incredible journey so far. But as we now reach the end, looking back, we've had a lot of amazing moments, this series being no different. So I do want to take the time to say thank you to everyone who has enjoyed this series. Some were more popular than others, but that's besides the point. Still though, it's fun when you reach a conclusion with the series that you've been working on. So really, this was a pretty fun one to make, trying to combine Power Rangers, Ninja Storm, and Naruto. So I hope you have enjoyed the series for what it is, and I hope you'll enjoy the finale as we move on to the next stages of Heroes of the Morphin Grid. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into today's video finale. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The final battle between the Allied Shinobi forces and the masked Madara was soon underway. The army was not big by any comparison, but at this point in the fight, there really didn't need to be. There was no point in gathering large groups of shinobi together. In the end, it would be futile. The strongest of the strong from the 5 great nations had been brought together, along with the Ninja Storm Rangers, who had all prepared for this moment. All of the training, the drills, they had been brought together for this exact reason: the fight against the great evil like Madara. As the battle got underway, the masked Madara, who had a Sharingan in one eye and a Rinnegan in the other, would look to take the advantage from the jump. He at first summoned the Gedo statue, and he unleashed the 4-tailed beast in his possession. The 2 tails, the 3 tails, the 5 tails, and the 7 tails. He used them in conjunction with his own abilities, believing that their strong output of energy would give him an advantage. And initially he would be right. Even with the 5 Kage, even with shinobi such as Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Guy, there was still only but so much that one could do against a tailed beast. But this was where the Rangers would step in. While Naruto and the other remaining Jinchuriki had been hidden away for their own safety, the Rangers were still not in the dark. Naruto had given his ninja coin before leaving. In doing so, they were able to access and summon the Red Falcon Zord even without his presence. In doing so, they could form the Storm Megazord. Kaori, the Blue Ninja Storm Ranger, and Tamari, the Yellow Ninja Storm Ranger, would use the Red Ninja Coin and would summon their Megazords. Upon doing so, they would join together to form the Storm Megazord. Both Kurasuchi and Chojuro would summon their Zords as well to create the Thunder Megazord. Cam would form the Samurai Star Megazord, giving them an equal footing in the battle. While Sasuke, a Zord had not been made for him, but in all honesty, he didn't need it. As Sasuke activated his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, he gained access to something just as powerful, that being in his own Susanoo. The group of Rangers, along with their Megazords, would hold off the Tailed Beast, while the Kage dealt with the Masked Madara. Tsunade, Lord A, Onoiki, Mei, and with the absence of Gaara, the One-Tails Jinchuriki, with Jiraiya taking his place, they would lead the charge against the Masked Madara. While using their ninjutsu to the best of their abilities, hitting him would prove to be a bit of an understatement, as all of their attacks seemed to phase through him. Kakashi and Guy provided an assist whenever possible, as they continued to battle on against the one they believed to be Madara Uchiha. He would use a great fireball jutsu, one that would have to be countered, as Inoki would use a great earth wall to block his attack. The Masked Madara was able to hold his own effortlessly against the 5 Kage, truly living up to the name of Madara Uchiha. In the meantime, the 5 remaining Jinchuriki had been hidden away on Turtle Island. It was the same place where Killer B, the 8-Tails Jinchuriki, had learned to become a perfect Jinchuriki with his tailed beast. However, Naruto, Roshi, Gaara, and Utakata, they on the other hand had issues when it came to working with the tailed beast inside of them. Each Jinchuriki, outside of Killer B, would go through the waterfall of truth, a way for them to confront the darkness within themselves in order to master the beast within. Each Jinchuriki had their own struggles to overcome. For Gaara to make peace with the One-Tails, for Roshi to find cooperation with the 4-Tails. For Utakata, he and the 6-Tails were actually on good terms. It was just more so of him just learning to master his own power. But then there was Naruto and the 9-Tails. The 9-Tailed Fox was not fond of Naruto at all, and the idea of cooperating with him, well, that just sounded impossible. Although while Naruto was confronting his own hatred within, overcoming the darkness, he would get help from an unexpected source, as the remnant chakra that was used in his seal would be activated. Both Minato and Kushina would make themselves known to Naruto. Naruto getting to meet his parents both together for the first time. The three would share in their family moment, Naruto learning of his past and everything that had happened. To actually be with both of his parents, to actually get the chance to experience their warmth and love, and their confidence within their own son, to see just how strong and powerful he had become on his own. It gave Naruto all the more of the reason, the drive to move forward, to get stronger and to not back down. Because of this, Naruto was determined to master the power of the Nine Tails. Once he had done so, he was able to access what was known as KCM-1. Upon doing this, Naruto felt that he couldn't stay on the sidelines any further. He looked to his other Jinchuriki counterparts and asked them how they felt as well. Roshi didn't like the idea of sitting on the sidelines. After all, he had gotten this far in life, there was no point in him hiding away. And then of course Gaara also wanted to assist and help his sister in the fight. Killer Bee was always ready to get into action. Utakata, on the other hand, he was more of a free spirit. He didn't really care very much for combat, but he had come to like his other Jinchuriki counterparts. So, if they were going to go into battle, then he wouldn't mind joining them as well. With that, the 5 Jinchuriki would band together, escaping from Turtle Island and making their way to the center of the world, to the land of the Hidden Rain, where there the great battle commenced. The Rangers in their respective Megazords, and Sasuke in his Susanoo, held off the 4-tailed beast while the Kage continued in vain in fighting against the masked Madara. It was only thanks to Kakashi and his Sharingan prowess that they were able to even stay in the fight somewhat. But all the same, it felt as though he were toying with them all. He had warned that this fight was pointless. Even if he didn't have all of the Jinchuriki he wanted, in the end, he was still going to come out victorious. Or so he thought, as a blaze of light would come shining towards the battlefield, as the people would turn to watch and see what was coming. There was a mixed sign of both relief and dread, for they saw that it was none other than a blazing Naruto, in his Red Ranger form, glowing a mist, as multiple shadow clones went flying towards the battlefield all at once, aiding the other members as they fought. Of course, the other Jinchuriki had arrived as well. Gaara was on good enough terms with Shukaku, and Roshi and Son Goku, they had learned to tolerate one another. Killer Bee, along with his tailed beast, and Yuki, as well as Utakata and Saikon, the 6 tails. They would all transform into their tailed beasts respectively, and aid the Rangers in their fight against the tailed beast, subduing and holding them down, while Naruto tried to figure out what was going on. Upon doing so, Naruto would learn of the plight of the other tailed beasts, and using his respective clones, he looked to free them from the control of the masked Madara. While he had done a great effort in freeing them, in the end, they were still chained and brought back into the Gedo statue. The other Kage were livid to see that the other Jinchuriki had arrived, but the Jinchuriki commented that from the looks of things, they needed all of the help that they could get. Naruto joined the other Rangers, flying into the cockpit of his respective Megazord. Both Karui and Tamari were shocked to see that he had arrived, but they could feel the boost of his chakra, as Naruto continued to glow bright in his Red Ranger form, combined with KCM-1. The moment he joined with the Megazord, the Storm Megazord would begin to glow in a bright aura, until it transformed until it was completely golden. They could feel the amplification of the chakra of the Nine Tails amplifying their own Megazord, giving them a unique advantage in the fight. However, at this point, with the other tail beasts now removed, the only thing that remained to be stopped was the Gedo statue, and the Rangers turned their attention to destroying it once and for all. As they went to fight against the Gedo statue, the Kages would once again set their sights back against the masked Madara. While he believed that the fight was to his advantage now, on the other hand, it was actually the beginning of the end. Cam would tell them all that it seemed as though the time had come. It was time for them to use their ultimate technique. They had to destroy the Gedo statue and free the other tailed beasts within. And once they did so, that would destroy Madara's plans once and for all. The Rangers all joined together as they formed the combination sequence. The red, blue, and yellow Ninja Storm Megazords would combine with the Crimson and Navy Thunder Megazord, along with the Samurai Star Megazord, all of them coming together to form the Hurricane Megazord, amplified with the chakra of the Nine Tails. Sasuke wanted to assist in his own way. As he jumped on top of the Hurricane Megazord, he summoned his Susanoo. Instantly, within the Megazord itself, another cockpit seat would open and Sasuke would find himself inside. They had no idea how this had happened, or how Sasuke was able to pull something like this off. Sasuke wasn't sure either, it was just an idea that came to mind. But he focused his chakra, and Susanoo armor would appear around the Hurricane Megazord. As they pulled out their sword, amplified with all of their chakra, the chakra of the Nine Tails, and coated in the black flame of Amaterasu, they would turn their attention to the Gedo statue as they fought against it, to destroy it once and for all. The very ground would shake under their feet as the two large monstrosities did battle with one another, the pouring rain falling down heavily upon them both. The Gedo statue moved and acted crazed, like an uncontrollable monster. The Rangers would maneuver and synchronize with one another, Cam leading the charge as the others followed behind him. Eventually, they were able to pin down the Gedo statue, and in one fell swoop, they would cut off its head, killing and destroying it once and for all. Sasuke amplified his Amaterasu to its fullest extent, burning it away until a point where it could not be revived. Seeing the damage that had occurred, the masked Madara would have no choice but to attempt to save the Gedo statue. If it was destroyed, then his plans and ambitions would go along with it. However, before he could get the chance, as he attempted to use his own version of Kamui, Kakashi would use his own as well, and in the process, he would actually damage his mask. With the Gedo statue defeated, the Rangers would unsummon their Megazords, Sasuke putting away his Susanoo. As they joined with the other ninja on the battlefield, they all surrounded the masked Madara. Knowing that this was his last stand, he told them all to come forth. And with that, the final sequence of combat would commence. The masked Madara attempted to fight and hold them all off to the best of his abilities, the Rangers working in unison to push him back, Naruto and Sasuke leading the charge, fighting together, the red and black Ninja Storm Rangers side by side, Kakashi using his Kamui to counter the Kamui of the masked Madara, until eventually his mask would be destroyed, and it would be revealed to be none other than Obito Uchiha. Kakashi couldn't believe his eyes. To think that his friend, the person of whom he looked up to, would be the one responsible for all of this. However, the time for sentiment was long gone. The only thing left now was the war. Obito continued to fight desperately against them all, but in the end, there was only but so much that he could do against these overwhelming forces. As the battle raged on, Naruto and Kurama's cooperation would only grow more and more, going on continuously until eventually they too were able to synchronize, informing that Naruto would evolve into KCM2, with the more amplified of his chakra and of his power. With Kakashi timing Kamui just right, they were eventually able to overwhelm Obito, and once they had finally caught him off guard, he would be struck down and defeated. They would immediately work to seal away his chakra, to assure that he could not escape any further. His Rinnegan would be destroyed, and his Sharingan would be sealed away. Kakashi looked down with a heavy heart, knowing the fate of his fallen comrade. But all the same, the other four-tailed beasts would be freed from the Gedo statue, which was now destroyed once and for all. And with that, the conflict of the Great War had now been brought to an end. Masked Madara, Obito Uchiha, the plans of the Akatsuki, they were now all brought to an end. Obito would be taken back to the Hidden Leaf, where he would be interrogated thoroughly. Much of his plans would be revealed. And while all was well and good now, there were still other worries. There seemed to be more to this plot than met the eye, and there was still one member of the Akatsuki that they had to search for. His name was Zetsu. A hunt would be put out for him immediately, and for a while, it was believed that he would never be found, Zetsu attempting to hide in the darkness of the world. However, he would be caught eventually. The combined efforts of Sasuke and Naruto, as well as the other Rangers. Once Black Zetsu was taken in, they would learn many shocking revelations. In the process of his interrogation, everything would freeze. Time, space, everything within itself. Only Zetsu, Naruto, and Sasuke remained. They were teleported to another dimension, another realm. As they stood, the three would see someone floating before them, and it would be none other than Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of the six paths and god of all shinobi. He introduced himself and explained everything to them in better degree. He explained that what they saw before them was the will of his mother, Kaguya Otsutsuki, and that Black Zetsu's real plans and ambitions had been in reviving his mother. Naruto and Sasuke listened on intently as they learned about the history of the world, the story of Indra and Ashura, the stories of their reincarnates and descendants, and that Naruto and Sasuke were a part of that cycle. But things had changed. They no longer carried on the cycle of hatred, but rather they had joined forces and fought as one, resulting in the world's victory. But even still, Hagoromo warned that there were still other threats in this world, and that they would one day come, not just from this reality, but others as well. This version of Hagoromo was able to see into the future. He saw the fate that awaited the Rangers, not just of this world, but of others as well. While there wasn't much that he could do now, he would provide them assistance in a few areas. First, he used the truth-seeking orb and destroyed Black Zetsu once and for all, putting an end to the schemes of the will of his mother. And then second, he blessed both Naruto and Sasuke with a portion of his power. For Naruto, he gained the power of the Sage of Six Paths, using this to restore Kurama to his full capabilities, as Naruto only had half of the 9 tails. As for Sasuke, one of his eyes was transformed into the Rinne Sharingan. He explained that the time would come when they would need these powers to save not just their world, but multiple worlds. And that, if the two of them were able to stand together, then in the end, it would result in peace for the future. Both Naruto and Sasuke promised that no matter what, they would stand together. They would protect this world and the next. Satisfied, Hagoromo would bid them adieu and leave them. Both Naruto and Sasuke would return back to the world they originally came from, knowing that they had now completely changed. What were these new threats that they would soon have to face? They weren't entirely sure. But they knew that no matter what, they would be prepared. Following the battle with Obito Uchiha, Obito would be sentenced to life in prison. His prison would be put in an isolated area. He was to be on guard 24/7, and he was never to be seen again. Kakashi, not too long after, would take over the active reins as the 6th Hokage. In doing so, it granted him special permission, and from time to time he would make the pilgrimage to meet with Obito, to speak with him, and to try to gain his friend back. But what about the Ninja Storm Rangers? Did their story end here? What did they do now? All Rangers, including Sasuke, would meet back in the Land of Iron, where their master, Mifune, and his grandson Cam, the Green Ninja Storm Ranger, would all be gathered together. The prophecy, at least on their end, had been fulfilled. They had defeated the great evil, and it seemed as though their job was done. Now was the time for them to move on with their lives, to forge their own paths in the world. Many of the Jinchuriki survived in this reality, and had decided to make peace with their respective villages. Gaara, the Kazekage and Jinchuriki of the One Tails, Roshi, the Jinchuriki of the Four Tails, had actually started working with Inoki again, and, if possible, he wanted to take over as Tsuchikage. Of course, someone like Kurasuchi could have taken the role, but she had other things in mind, as the Crimson Ninja Storm Ranger held the hand of the Red Ninja Storm Ranger. Kaori was going to stay in the Hidden Cloud Village, although she would visit the Hidden Leaf from time to time. Chojuro was going to work on becoming the next Mizukage. And as for Cam, well, he wanted to continue to grow the Land of Iron in his own way, and take over as the leader of the Samurai clan. All seemed well for the Rangers. Even Sasuke, while he hadn't known them for long, had ingratiated himself to the team. Of course, for Sasuke, he wasn't fully sure of what he wanted to do now. But knowing the power that he had before him, and the threat of the potential other Otsutsuki that may still lurk out there, Sasuke felt as though he were best serving from the shadows. However, their next adventure was not too far away. As all 7 Rangers stood together, preparing to say their goodbyes, a wave of sadness washed over Naruto. Naruto wasn't sure of how this was happening. He just felt an immense emotional pain, like the pain of losing a brother, of losing family. The other Rangers could feel this to a small degree, but for Naruto, it felt the strongest. Kurasuchi looked to him and asked if he was alright. Naruto wasn't sure why, but he felt like there was somewhere he needed to go. He felt like there was something they needed to do. They couldn't be here. And before them, a portal would open. They could hear fighting and battling on the other side. They had no idea what was going on. Naruto, without hesitation, would jump through the portal instantly. Kurasuchi jumping after, followed by Sasuke. One after another, all of the Rangers made their way through the portal before it closed on them. Mifune had no idea what was happening. He had no idea what had taken place. As Naruto and the other Ninja Storm Rangers now had made it through the other side of the portal, what they saw before them was a great battlefield. People using weapons they had never seen before, along with other strange powers. They were fighting, some were flying, others doing things that they couldn't have possibly imagined. But more so, they weren't the only ones. There was a group of kids that were also there. A boy with green hair, a boy with yellow and red hair, a boy who had a scar on his face. There were some other strange looking people as well. A girl with long blue hair, a boy with short brown hair, a girl that looked like a witch, a blonde girl with armor. There were other kids that they didn't recognize either. As they all looked around though, they saw the main focus. Naruto looked onwards as he saw another ranger. This ranger was the Sail Ranger, Monkey D. Luffy. And it was his pain that the other Red Rangers felt as he raced to save his brother Ace from execution. The Rangers had been brought to another reality, but they were not the only ones. The Ninja Storm Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Rangers, the Zeo Rangers, the Mystic Rangers, the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers, they had all been brought together. As Naruto could feel this pressure, he raced forward without hesitation, but he was not the only one, for he saw others quickly behind him. This being Shinra Kusakabe, Katsuki Bakugo, Shinji Ikari, all Red Rangers racing forward to aid their comrade in the Battle of Marine Ford. This concludes Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, Part 7, based on the Heroes of the Morphing Grid series. As always, if you're a fan of today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcasting stats to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we will continue Jujutsu Kaisen Curse of Daishi, based on the Heroes of the Morphing Grid series, Part 2. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.